Guys, how's everybody doing? Still continuing the journey to Evil Dead Rise. I've decided to review the three-season TV show titled Ash vs. the Evil Dead. Now, I kind of want to give a history lesson back when this show first came out. Now, the latest installment of the Evil Dead franchise back then was the 2013 remake. And that was the only Evil Dead project fans have gotten in years because the last one was in 1992 with Army of Darkness, because after that it kind of just died, and Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell just didn't make another one. But they got the remake of Evil Dead. Fans were pissed that it even existed, but some people actually did like it, and fans enjoyed it. But that's not what they wanted. But they finally got this three-season TV show. And I want to imagine how excited people were when this show first came out, and how excited to hear that Ash Williams was finally coming back to slay the Deadites. And when I first watched this, I watched it last year preparing for the Evil Dead video game. Don't judge me. But I watched it on New Year's with my dad because me and him kind of just wanted to watch it, and I watched it for a third time, and I still enjoy this first season. Starting off with my positives on Ash vs. the Evil Dead Season 1 is the soundtrack. Now, I was kind of weirded out when I first saw this and how people are saying, like, I don't know why they're going to put classic rock songs in this TV show because the original series didn't have them, which I understand, but to me, the music in this show kind of matches the kind of tone of the moment. Like, when they're driving away, there's Alice Cooper, there's also, like, uh, Blink Pink or something like that. I can't remember all the names, but there are some classic rock stars in here. Mostly notable is Alice Cooper because I'm kind of a fan of him and I really like him. Only because of Wayne's World. Anyways, I think the soundtrack in this movie is really good, and I actually looked up the soundtrack on YouTube after watching the show, and I kind of listened to it at night. Surprisingly, didn't get yelled at by my dad. These new characters, I like Pablo and Kelly, and I think they're a nice addition. They kind of made themselves also as iconic as Ash, if not just at the same level as them anyways. But I like Pablo and Keller. They're very enjoyable. They also have like this little they kind of have like this love story thing going on with Pablo and Kelly, where Pablo really has a crush on Kelly and doesn't really go anywhere in the first season, but in the second and third season it really starts going there, and Pablo tries to get with Kelly, and then she gets possessed and kind of reveals stuff, but Kelly doesn't remember because she was possessed, blah, blah, blah. We've seen it all before. But I really like these new crew, and also you kind of need some young blood there so they can get splashed with blood and throw on walls because Bruce Campbell is getting to that age where he can't do that anymore. And he said, and yeah, he says he's retired from this character when he just said that he would do another Evil Dead movie if only Sam Raimi directed it. So-called retirement, huh? I think the gore in the show is really good too. Now this series has always been known for its gore and how gritty it is, but I think it is pretty good in here. There is a lot of CGI in this with the blood, but I will talk about that. But the gore that they do use is really good, where all the characters kind of get really splashed with it. There's this one part in particular where they're like a militia episode, and there's kind of like a military camp and all that. There's this one guy that comes to Deadite, and then they have to like Pablo and Kelly kill him because they kind of like crush him with the car for a bit, but then he comes back to life, and they're trying to shoot him with the fucking AK and all that. But then there's just blood going everywhere, and Pablo just gets covered in blood, and he gets so scared, he starts punching the dead body, and then just more blood comes out. That was really gory. I remember when I first watched it, I was just sitting there like, damn, bro. Comedy in the show is really good as well. Now, I wouldn't say that for all of the Evil Dead movies, because sometimes I do feel that they kind of go overboard. Army of Darkness. Oh, excuse me. Sneezed. But I think almost every joke in this show really did get me. I think the main one that I really liked was when Ash tried to go to his job to get his check so he can bail out of town because he accidentally awoke in the Deadites again. He was told to bring light bulbs in the back of the room of like the store, and but the box was open. He just picks it up and they just all pour out. And he just tries to just push it under the crates that just hold like all this stuff. And there's this other part where he's just covered in blood when they go to Kelly's parents' house because Kelly's mom is alive again when she apparently died in a car accident. He's just covered in blood, and everyone's just like, "Why are you guys covered in blood?" And he's like, "Oh, we hit a deer." But then when we tried to get it off my car, it exploded. And then the dad's just like, "I'm a hunter myself, and I've never had a deer explode." And he's just like, "Well, maybe you're not hunting the right deer." Now, I also kind of like how they use like the TV show setting where they can like go different places where they don't have to stay in one area. I like that. Now, in the other three movies, including Ash, we've only seen him at the cabin and in 1300 AD, but in this show, they bring him all over Michigan. Like, you get to different places, you go to a diner, you go to the cabin again, you go to these different places that I like that they did, where we could see Ash and these new characters in different settings instead of just the cabin. But we do get to see Ash in the cabin again. But I feel that they did a nice opportunity to not just keep Ash at the cabin and just have him go all over Denver and Michigan. Or is it just Michigan? I don't know. Speaking of Army of Darkness, I also kind of like the new hand Ash gets in this one. Like if you watch the series, Ash cuts off his hand in the second one. And but another thing I'm kind of wondering is, in Army of Darkness, Ash did get a new hand, which is pretty similar in this movie. What happened to that thing? Like at the end of Army of Darkness, he still had that arm, but what happened to it? But nonetheless, we do get a new hand here, which I think is pretty cool that Pablo makes. But I think it's kind of weird how they don't really set up Pablo to be like kind of like a tech whiz, and they don't really set up to how he knows all this. They don't really set that up at all. But anyways, I do like his new hand where it comes like a screwdriver and a flashlight. Flashlight, Jesus. Um, God, I ain't tired. Flashlight, and it's just kind of like it's just like a new hand. It can make a middle finger. It can high five. It can do a fist. I like that. It's pretty weird, and for some reason, when I first watched this, I thought the show, oh my God, the hand got destroyed, but throughout the rest of the series, it was there. But in this first season, they kind of set up that it got broken. That's kind of weird, right? I'm very tired. Like I said, I was talking about the cabin. They built that cabin to great attention to detail. Now, pretty much all the action that you saw in the first two movies, where like everyone was kind of getting thrown at walls, or pretty much everything that happened at the cabin in the first two movies, they put that in there, like just going as head as like the dead bodies, like from the second one where that one hillbilly guy who got like ripped apart and blood splashed all over that one girl in the second movie by Henrietta. His body's still down there, and there's like holes in the cabin, and people might not know what that is, but that's from like the second movie when blood was like spilling out of the walls. There's even a a hole where Ed, which I accidentally forgot his name in my Evil Dead 2 review. Very sorry about that. But like he gets slammed into the wall in that second movie, and that hole still there. They built that thing to great attention to detail, or maybe they used the same cabin. I don't know what they did, but I feel the way that they rebuilt that cabin and just the fact that we got to see the cabin like years later got me all choked up. Like seeing like these different demons from the book where you get like this one guy that kind of takes like your energy where he kind of just like put his hands like around your head and kind of sucks stuff away from you, kind of like takes all your emotions and stuff. It's kind of weird. It's hard to explain. I and the new Deadites in this movie are pretty good. Like the tattoo girl who like spins her head around and starts like doing like these creepy little moves and all that. And I think the Deadites in this movie are probably at their scariest. Like in the beginning of the show, there's like this cop Amanda and her partner where he gets possessed. Well, he doesn't exactly get possessed. He gets killed, but then becomes possessed. There's a part where it's just like, I was like he's trying to trick with her, like what the Deadites do, where they're Deadites, but they trick you and they go back to the normal selves to mess with you. But then he's like, and like the lights just like swinging back and forth where it's just dark and so it's like, I need you to die, and he's just white and he's just staring at her. I was like, dude, that's like terrifying, and he's just sitting there, and then he just starts laughing, and it's so weird. I was like, dude, this is weird. I don't like it, and it's really scary. I I feel that the Deadites are probably at their best in this movie, minus Evil Dead 2. I like the Deadites in this movie. Like I said, we get new, different kind of demons. Like you get the kid, the weird kids from Ruby and all that. And you get like the one guy that kind of takes like your fears off the God feeds off the emotional people and all that. Like takes your emotions and kind of feeds off of it. I like that. I think the new Deadites and demons in this are just at their best. On to my mixed aspects. I mentioned the Militian episode. That is episode 7. I'm mixed on that episode where it kind of felt more like The Walking Dead than The Evil Dead. Now, I enjoy The Walking Dead, even though I have not finished it. I enjoy it for what I've watched, but when I was watching that episode, I was like, why am I watching The Walking Dead all of a sudden? Did I put in the wrong disc? But no, I was watching The Evil Dead. But the reason it's in my mixed aspects is because I still get enjoyment factor out of it. There's enough Evil Dead material there to be an Evil Dead movie. Movie. Did I seriously just say movie? Show. But it just felt more like The Walking Dead. And it really just bothered me. But I don't hate it because there's still Evil Dead material there. Now to my negatives. Now, what I'm about to say is 1000% a nitpick. I hate how the Deadites come back in this series. The way that they come back, Ash still has a Necronomicon. He has locked away in his trailer where he lives, and he summons them because of the like tattoo girl I mentioned had like a French poem on her wrist, and Ash tried to like make her happy. I don't know what the fuck he's trying to do, and he reads from the Necronomicon because he was stoned and horny. Really? That's it? That's the only way you thought to bring him back, Sam? I get it. This is supposed to be goofy and just weird, and then the Evil Dead series is not one of those horror series that really took itself seriously. But that's all? If anything, have them come back because of Pablo. There's even a scene in the show where Pablo says that him and Ash watch Monday Night Raw together. If anything, just cut that scene where Ash finds out that they awake, that they're back, and just go back to work. And then Pablo and Ash are talking about Night Raw, and then cut to a scene where they're watching it. But then Pablo finds that book and starts reading from it. I would have preferred them to come back as that, and then Pablo joins Ash to destroy the Deadites because he knows that this is his fault why they're back. I would have preferred that. And I hated the CGI in this show. I could not stand it. Like I understand this CGI is a big new thing now, and this is what the creators are kind of figuring out now, and they can make their problems more easier. But it's just bad. Like I understand it's for television. The CGI for television is not always the greatest. But this show had a big budget for it being a television series, and TV shows get pretty big budgets. If you're gonna have 10 episodes, they would give you a big budget. Use some of that money just for practical effects. Why would you just use a bunch of CGI? It's just bothered me. They even use CGI blood, which bothers almost every horror movie fan. And there's parts where the Deadites would like kind of leap or just jump, and you could tell that it's CGI, and it bothers me. I I understand it's Evil Dead, and and the CGI and just cheap effects from the series gave them their charm, but they don't use CGI in the original movies. Why use it now? Oh, I get it. New modern world. The thing that's kind of bothered me in this show was the character of Ruby. Now, I don't hate her actress and I don't absolutely hate the character, but this is a thing that's always confused me. There's a part in the show where she says she's hunting down Ash to get revenge for killing her Nobi family, and she says that she is a Nobi and her dad was Professor Nobi and her mom was Henrietta and her sister was the one girl that got stabbed in the back by Ash's hand. But then at the end of episode 9, a big bomb is dropped. Spoilers if you have not God. She says she is the author of the Necronomicon. She wrote the book, which makes her a Dark One. Was she ever a Nobi, or was that just to mess with fans' head and just she was just saying that just so she could find them? I don't know, and they don't really explore that at all. Maybe that was just a lie, and then she's just actually a Dark One. I don't think she's a Nobi. If she is, then how could she have wrote the Necronomicon when it was wrote like thousands of years ago? Well, guys, I really enjoyed this season of television from Ash vs. the Evil Dead, and this is a series that I like rewatching. And I finished season 2, which I will review in a few minutes here. I really enjoyed this season, and this is a season where I think you should check it out as soon as you can. Either buy the complete series or try and binge watch it on Netflix before it leaves, which is a really ironic time for it leaving because Evil Dead Rise comes out and it leaves a week later after it comes out. Ha ha ha! You Netflix. But try and watch this any time you can or any way you can. This is a season of television where I believe you should go out and buy it. What do you guys think of Ash vs. the Evil Dead Season 1? Do you enjoy this season of television? Did you not like this season of television? Do you think this was a great return to the series or a disappointing return to the series? Let me know in the comments below and we will talk about it. And if you like this video, like it. If you love it, subscribe and hit the bell notification so you will get notified for my latest videos. And until next time, take care.